welcome to Double O Direct.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Olivia.
What do you mean? What you say it like? You
Yes,
say
it's a
it
pleasure.
like I'm doing you a favor when you're the one and you know it, doing me a huge favor because I've been hounding you for months.
Oh my God. Oh, no. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
I've been campaigning. I even had to get one of my other favorite designers, Katungulu Mwendwa, to intercede. Intercession.
Yeah.
She had to intercede and help this to fruition.
Oh my God. Thank you.
I watched your show at Tribal Chic. Mm-hmm. Hey. Tribal Chic was like 2 shows. Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
Because this is a positive space, a
Yeah.
safe space.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, your designs are so global standard. It's global. You're like, Katush, you all are like the Chimamanda. Yeah?
Yeah.
In terms of fashion for Kenya. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You read her work and you're like, this is just great work.
Yes.
Yeah. I see your clothes. I wear your clothes and they're just great clothes. And then look at that packaging. Firstly, I know I had a whole structure of how this interview was supposed to go. I mean, I received the box and I was like, is this a new Apple product?
Yes.
Do I have? I'm like,
Packaging is everything.
it's sustainable.
Yes.
It's designed.
Yes.
I love how you play with rope. I thought rope play was something else. Apparently, rope play. Sorry, it's a family show Saturday morning.
No, it's great working with artisans that then produce these things. They have these designs, but then I do the artwork and make sure that.
But even just the
exactly
thought, just the conceptualization that I'm going to package clothing in something you stereotypically see tech.
Yeah.
I love that juxtaposition. I've been waiting for an occasion to use the word juxtaposition. I've been like,
This is a perfect one.
Juxtaposition. Let's bring it out.
Absolutely.
I just loved that. I love the fact that you're making me think even before I've seen the garments. First thing my son was like, how do you open this box, Mom? Like, can we get to how to open the box?
Yeah, we need to send you the DIY.
I know, right? It's like on the back, you need to have instructions in English because, some of us know Scandinavian things we don't know. But just seriously, let's try and unpack who is Namnyak.
So Namnyak is a mother. I am a designer. I am a partner. I grew up in Ngong with my grandmother. Was orphaned quite early in life. And my grandmother took me in, helped me with everything. She put me through schooling, I and my cousins. And at a certain point, she was a seamstress. And she had this sewing machine at her house. And we would always play around with it, break needles, pulling threads. So sewing has always been a part of my life, or seeing my grandmother do it pushed me, or rather made me get interested in that sector. So I went to school in Gong. Then in high school, I went to Matasia. And thereafter, I asked myself, what am I going to do? What's next? Because it's not that we grew up quite poor, and we always had to raise funds to go to school. So then after my grandmother told me, well, now it's up to you. Figure out your life. See what you're going to do. I knew I wanted to get into fashion in one way or the other, but I didn't have the means. So initially, I took up a computer course, and I was a secretary. I think I was employed as a secretary. My first job, I earned 6,000 shillings, working in Nairobi West, living in Gong. Wow. It was just, it was mainly for bus fare. But I didn't want to stay at home. I didn't want to just sit around and not do anything. And then thereafter, after probably 6 months, I found a job at Deacon's. I was very fortunate. And at Dickens, I got to meet so many stylists, designers, people in the industry that really, that I connected with. I remember Lydia Molo, Connie as well. When I was there, then I started getting some interest in modeling. It was one way for me to get into fashion. I modeled a bit with on magazines, runway shows. I did that for quite some time. And while at it, I also acted. I was I was on an Allison production, Mali, which is basically just hustling. I was hustling, trying to do everything. I also got into styling. I was a stylist at Passion magazine. And with that, I was able to get some fans and take myself to school. So I started going to school at Mackinsale. It's a fashion design school that's on Gong Road. While doing that, I was, I don't even know, Olive Gashara, the owner of Couture magazine. She reached out just before it started, and she wanted me to style for the magazine. So then I became the stylist for Couture Africa, while still modeling, still doing so many other things. And eventually, over time, I became the fashion editor and was able to work with so many other brands. And in that process, I got to meet the designers at Milcolin. And I styled their collection. And shortly after, I asked if I could intern with them. Still at Couture and still at school. I interned with them for 3 months, and thereafter they formally employed me. I graduated from school, and they formally employed me. And I worked with them for the next, 4.5, 5 years. Where I was a visual merchandiser and head of design at the company. It was a great experience, really, really amazing experience. We got to showcase collections at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, working with concepts.
Please, for the uninitiated, tell us where Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week happens, because we don't know.
So that happens in South Africa. In Africa, it happens in South Africa, in Cape Town and Johannesburg, and was able to showcase 2 of the collections with them in both cities. Really amazing people to work with. And when I always say, when you leave, because most of us leaving fashion school, we always feel that, you gravitate towards wanting to launch your brand. And it's great. It's amazing. But if you don't have the experience, if you don't understand how the business of fashion really works, you might not, there's a very high chance you might not flourish, right? So for me, it was really important to work with people who already have an established business and understand how it works. How can I make a living out of fashion?
I'm Olivia Otieno. This is 00 Direct on SpiceFM. I'm with my woman in fashion. Now, I host several women in fashion, stylists, fashionpreneurs, designers. Namnyak Odupoy. Write it down, right? Spelling Namnyak. Last name Odupoy. Odup. Remember this name? You're going to be hearing and seeing a lot of it. Have you dressed Lupita Nyong'o?
Not yet.
You need to dress yet. Lupita.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the recent years, in the past few years, I have mainly focused on my consultancy, which is NamLab. We help brands develop products, pattern making. We work with factories to...
I want to unpack that.
Right.
And I want to unpack NamLab. But before we get to that, I want to understand your training with regards to your professional certifications. You've already said that you more or less worked very closely in designing Milcolin and working with the Milcolin brand. But in understanding how you learned pattern making and acquired your design skills, where was this? Was it just here in Kenya?
So I did a higher national diploma at Mackinsale here in Kenya. But a lot of what I have learned is from my own research, doing a lot of practice. I also did a fashion technology course at Polimoda
Yes.
in Italy.
Remotely, virtually, or
No.
you went to Italy?
Yeah, I went to Italy.
Okay, you see
Spent
now.
the summer.
I was thinking I can just go to Ngongwood and I can acquire this skill. I was like, this is fantastic, you know?
Yeah, but it was a very short course. But then you get to understand how also people work elsewhere, especially in Italy, where the industry is very well developed.
Yes.
But a lot of it was really self-taught. You get the basics from school. You have to do the extra work to understand how can you manipulate things, especially with pattern making that is very crucial to designing. How are you able to create something so different from what you see every day? How are you able to manipulate the pattern to create one-off kind of designs, which is what Studio Namnyak is that every piece, you will never find another piece like this. And even if someone would try to copy it, it would be very difficult because the pattern making process is very intricate.
It's
very well
intricate.
thought out.
It's very technical. I don't
Yeah.
understand, especially when it comes to design and the arts.
Yeah.
How much of this, with regards to Namnyak,
Yeah.
how much of it is talent
Yeah.
vis-a-vis training and mastering a craft?
Well, I would say it kind of balances out because the talent has to be there, of course. With any creativity, the talent has to be there. But if you don't have the technical skill of understanding how to execute the ideas that you have, it's very, very difficult. So it has to be, it could be 60-40, 70-30, 50-50. But it has to balance out. And that's why also many brands will get different people to do the different things because it's hard to find people.
Namnyak. Let's call it spade a spade. It's hard to find Namnyak. I want to understand about discipline.
Yeah.
How important is discipline in your execution?
It is crucial. It's crucial. So I work with a digital software. I design everything digitally. I do all my pattern making digitally. And that was self-taught. All of it was self-taught. I had to the pandemic did accelerate it. I had seen this software before, but during that period, it took me hundreds of hours to understand the software. Then you need to understand, okay, then how can I translate? How can I do the pattern making on the software digitally? And then how do I translate that pattern into a 3D garment to see what I'm doing? And with that, I'm then able to make any changes digitally without physically sampling the garment. Do you know how much wastage that cuts down?
Because the fashion industry is one of the world's greatest polluters, isn't it?
Yes, we are. Just last year, we had millions of clothing dumped in Kenya. Millions.
I was going to say Ghana, but now you're telling me Kenya.
In Kenya.
Dumped as a result of?
Of a consumption.
So are we talking about vintage in the secondhand clothing industry, or are we talking about clothes we've actually tried to make and no one wants to buy, etc.?
No. Clothes from elsewhere
Okay.
that are dumped here.
Yes.
Either from overproduction, people who don't want to wear the garments anymore, secondhand, so they're donated clothes. But really, how much of that is resold and how much of it is dumped?
Yes.
So much. And we have to be so mindful about how we consume,
Yes.
how we buy,
Yes.
and for us as producers, how we produce really matters. It's very important to me that the process cuts down as much wastage as possible.
Supporting women in fashion, designers, stylists, fashionpreneurs. DM me on my handle, Instagram, Twitter, OLIVIA. Otieno, that's Olivia Otieno, and you'll get to see this amazing jumpsuit. I'm wondering, right? Can I pull this off for a meeting? Can I get to work in this? Can I go to work?
Absolutely.
I can, right?
Yeah.
What do I do about the back?
You can wear a shirt underneath. Imagine styling it with a shirt.
That's what's up. Yes. Because I'm loving how I'm loving the cuts.
Yes.
I'm loving the elegance that it provides.
Oh, thank you.
This rain doesn't even know. Because I was thinking, do I style it with boots? Do I let ankle boots, knee-high boots? Like, do I open toe it just, to stay, to give the rain the finger, Do I do that? I said, no, I'm going to chill and just dress it down a little bit. But yes, you're absolutely right. I'm here with the phenomenal Namnyak Odupoy, NamLab, Studio Namnyak. Let's unpack the first one.
Yes.
NamLab. Tell me about that.
So NamLab is a consultancy. I help brands develop products. We do pattern making, grading, tech packs, 3D renders, you're able to visualize your garments even before you sample them physically. I do textile surface design and also render it on fabrics. So this was born from really a need in the market and came from friends. In 2018, when I left Milcolin, my initial idea, of course, was to launch the brand. But I had quite a few frustrations in the production area, and I thought I could tackle that. So I had a few friends come to me who are fashion entrepreneurs. They came to me to ask, could you help me with the pattern making for this capsule? Could you help me develop this capsule so that it fits to what my brand looks like? And after a few, I realized that there's a gap in the market, right? So then I took that on, and Studio Namnyak kind of lagged behind because I then focused on that. It became the main business for me. I've been able to work with so many designers to help them streamline their production, to help them also understand their products way beforehand. With the 3D software that I work with, we're able to create collections, virtual collections that you can even sell to buyers. Some clients send the digital collection to buyers so that they can visualize how the collection is going to look like, even before it goes into production. So it has been a game changer for me, and of course, it has meant that the creative bit for me as Studio Namnyak has been left behind. But I feel that I am putting in work in the industry, especially in Kenya, that really needs to be put in. We need to train people on understanding pattern making, understanding the technical work that goes into garment production. I'm working with factories like Wildlife Works to help their clients streamline production and make sure that all their work is to the standards.
So it's a real lab. It's a functioning consultancy. You don't just say consultant. No. What I want to understand, the process behind onboarding a client and what level of client you're looking for. For example, Double O says, I know clothes. I wear them, I wanted people to wear something that has Double O on, sleeve on it. Yeah. So do I come to you and you design for me a look for 2024 so that I can, or is it fashionpreneurs who want to tweak certain things? Or is it for designers who, yes, they have that creativity, but they don't have certain technical expertise? Yeah.
So to be honest, it's a whole lot because I have fashion entrepreneurs who have ideas but don't have the technical skills. They don't know how to develop the product to be as to the liking of what the brand should look like. I have designers who understand pattern making, are creative, but either they don't have the time, they cannot do everything by themselves, or some of them also don't have the technical skill to understand pattern making and like grading. Grading is a big one that has most brands.
What is grading?
So grading is sizing up and sizing down. So when you find extra small, medium, large, I do that.
I've encountered all kinds of nonsense. I stick to I'm a size 8 UK.
Right.
Yeah. Because most Kenyan women understand the UK sizing, whether they're a 16 or a 6 or whatever. They'll understand where the below. Actually, and most people in fashion in Kenya understand UK sizing. So I'm an 8 UK. Then we work with it. Right. So that grading when you're designing a collection is very important.
It's very important, and especially if you're selling in this market, which is very different from the European market or American market. And for most designers, you have to tailor it to the local client because most of our torsos are shorter, they're smaller, our bottoms are bigger and a bit rounder.
For everybody except Namnyak and I. We're talking the talk, but we're not walking the walk. No, but I get what you're saying.
The average.
How many Namnyaks are there in this NamLab? Because how many clients can you feasibly take on board at a time? Because how many women too?
So that's what's next for Namnyak. We're looking to hire and train because, of course, pattern making is very critical. It's very critical, and you have to really love it to do it.
Anne McCreath told me that's now how she kept on board with Iona, because Iona is like, that ain't my struggle. Pattern making, Mom. I'm going to do this brand. It ain't my struggle.
And I was talking to her the other day. And I'm actually asking her to send me some people to intern.
Anne McCreath?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll be working with them for their pattern making as well.
Nice.
So the next thing is for me to now scale, to train people and be able to do it at a larger scale, because right now I can take on four clients in one go and sparse it out. Otherwise, then people book in advance in order for me to be able to do all that work for them.
Is that income generating enough?
Yes.
Is that the most commercially viable aspect of your business?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And then that allows you now to go and play
with Studio Namnyak.
With Studio Namnyak.
Exactly. Because Studio Namnyak, really, I want it to be the creative, also where I can collaborate with other designers, with artists, to produce capsules, because I don't want just to produce clothing, just to produce them, right? I want to tell stories. I want to make impact. I want to work with artisans. That's what I'm really passionate about when it comes to garment, like producing clothing. It's not just to produce just to have clothing.
We're going to be unpacking this jumpsuit.
Okay.
We want to understand the process behind it, the thinking behind it, the fabric, the price point, the color schemes that you decided to use, and the Namnyak woman. All right?
Yeah.
Importance of discipline, the importance of training, but also the importance of talent. 3 things my woman in fashion, Namnyak Odupoy, has a plethora of. Today I've used plethora and juxtapose.
Yes.
I'm on a roll. I'm on a serious roll. I need to understand this garment that I'm wearing. Does it have a name?
Yes, it does. It's a Mkusi jumpsuit.
Mkusi jumpsuit.
Yes.
It took me like 15 minutes to realize that it doesn't have a zip. Like, I was like, I need to get into it. Then I realized that what I thought was the front is actually the back. Because I was like, this will be like cleavage to my navel. Like,
décolletage.
Hey, forget even décolletage. The girl, the belly button, everything is out. Like, I was like, what's Namnyak trying to do here? This is a family show. This is a Saturday morning. I think that's a different show you're looking for. But secondly, the fact that it feels so good, it's so well structured, it doesn't need a zip or buttons. And then the way it falls on your body, the way it cinches slightly at the waist, it flares. Tell me about the design and creative process behind this.
So, my creative process when it comes to designing really starts, of course, there's the inspiration. I have to get the inspiration of the collection, the colors. I have to come up with the colorways that I want to use for that season. But ultimately, I start with pattern making.
Okay.
Because I'm a pattern maker. And I think there's so much you can do when you work backwards with patterns. You can sketch a garment. You have a rough idea of what you want it to look like.
So you wanted a jumpsuit?
I wanted a jumpsuit.
Okay.
So from a jumpsuit, then how do I manipulate it to be what exactly I want it to be? And that's then the pattern making process. You test, trial. And especially with the software, it's quite fast. I did this collection in 2 months, solely because I did it on the software. If I was doing paper patterns, everything physically, you do the pattern, sample, it would take at least 4 months.
Are you training other designers on the software and on the pattern making, or
at the moment, no. Okay. But now that's what I was saying with NamLab. I need to get people to train for that.
Let's talk about money and pricing with regards to, firstly, NamLab and your consultancy.
Yeah.
Can you give me some average pricing for some average services so we understand what we're working with?
So for pattern making services, with a capsule of, say, 10 looks, 10 pieces, I charge 15,000 shillings per pattern.
That is so affordable.
It's very affordable. Very affordable. 15,000 shillings per pattern.
Yes.
And then for a minimum of 30 grades in that 10-piece capsules, I will charge you 3,000 per grade. Then there's a product development, depending on how long it takes. I charge 20,000 per day.
Which grades are Kenyans mostly, leaning towards? Is it large and medium?
Yeah, most brands will do small, medium, large, but medium is the biggest seller. You'll always have more mediums. You'll rarely find brands doing extra small, extra large. They don't move as much. But some always put it in just to have it in case they want to produce a few of those pieces. But yeah, it's mostly small, medium, large.
Great. Now, in understanding Studio Namnyak.
Yes.
You're virtual, so everyone should go to Studio Namnyak to find out more on how to contact you and how to buy, these amazing garments. Yeah. Number one. Number two, this specific collection. What do you have against sleeves? Why are all the outfits sleeves like
we do have a shirt.
There's one shirt.
There's a shirt.
There's a shirt. There's a shirt with. Is that a sleeveless? But seriously, why so many sleeveless?
Because it's a summery. No,
you do CrossFit. Yeah, I don't know. You can lift, 150 or something crazy, and you want to show off your Michelle Obama's, arms. Let's be honest, right?
That's one for sure. But also, there's many ways that you can style the collection, right? With the jumpsuit, you can wear a jacket over it. You can wear a shirt under it. With these waistcoat that I'm wearing, you can layer it on top of long sleeve pieces. So I wanted it to be fresh, like summery, vibey.
It's striking in that I've never seen shoulders like these. I'm always very skeptical about sleeveless garments, but then I put this one on and it sits just right.
Yeah,
it sits just right. It covers what it needs to cover. It exposes what it needs to expose, and yet you wear it. And people are like, okay, where'd you get that? Like, where'd you get that? Okay, let's be honest, because it's very unique in its design.
Yeah, because I have in mind when designing, I have that client in mind and what parts you would like to show a bit. I think the back is a beautiful part of a woman's body, and this collection is not solely for women. It's for whoever wants to wear it.
Because this is kind of, it's gender neutral.
Yeah,
in a
it's
way.
a unisex piece.
Yeah, I didn't feel it's a bit androgynous.
Yes, absolutely. Most of my pieces are like this. I love androgyny. I love that you cannot really tell, is it a man or a woman's piece? It's for who really wants to wear it. It's who feels comfortable in it. Garments should not be
Restricted.
they should not be
Tell me about your
restricted to
play with rope.
My play with?
Rope.
That,
You see, I'm trying to avoid saying rope play, but now that it's out there, because I noticed there's a dress that I find just stunning, and
Yes.
it also doesn't have buttons. It also doesn't have a zipper,
Yeah.
but it has this amazing rope.
Yeah. So I wanted to use something that is quite natural to cinch the waist. You also have this jacket. The waistcoat also has a rope.
Yes.
That
Those
you
are
can
leather,
play with.
however?
Yeah, these are leather.
Yes.
These are actually reused from another collection.
Nice.
But in this collection, you'll see it's a cotton cord that we've used on that. And initially, I wanted to work a lot with the basket weave, but because we didn't have enough time, because we also had shoes in collaboration with Equetta, which will be coming soon. I wanted to play a lot with rope and weaving, and so I introduced that as a feature on the garments, that you can cinch your waist if you want to. Even with the jumpsuit, there's a loop at the back. If you find it, there is a loop at the back that you can loop that rope
Through.
and cinch on the waist.
What's the fabric?
Most fabrics in this collection, actually all are cottons. Some are 100% for the shirts. They're 100%. For the jumpsuit is a cotton lycra, so it has a bit of a stretch.
It does,
You
it
can
does.
jump into that even if
Yeah.
you have, you're well
Wider
blessed.
Yeah.
You can still jump into that jumpsuit quite easy, and the waistcoats, there's marikani, which is the unprocessed cotton, and there's also some cotton suiting.
Love it.
In all of them, there's a part. I'm quite conscious about how we use fabrics and what kind of fabrics we use and what their life will look like after usage.
Detailing, finishing. I've loved the fact that you use cotton, rope, and leather.
Yes.
I love that. I also love the fact that even with the rope
Yes.
at the tips, there's that fine leather finishing.
Yes.
It is so well crafted. I'm sorry, I'm a fan. I don't know if that, has resonated enough. We're out of time. This is the first, but not the last.
Yes,
I
definitely.
know that you have a launch coming up in April.
Yes.
We're going to be highlighting that launch. We're going to be getting people to your launch. We're going to be making sure that people at least own. I was challenged by Wandia Gishuru to make sure that I have more Kenyan clothing in my wardrobe. I think I'm getting
Yes.
there. And I think that's something we should all try and do.
Absolutely.
Aspire to get a Namnyak piece. You will not regret it. What about care? Before I let you go, how do I care for this jumpsuit?
So all the pieces are hand wash, mild detergent, cold water, ideally, or lukewarm.
Yes.
And you can hang dry them inside out, of course, and iron them on medium heat since they're all cotton.
I steamed it, and I will continue to use the
Wonderful.
steamer
Yes,
because I'm
please.
rubbish at ironing.
Steamer is even better, always.
Thank
Use a
you
steamer.
so much, Namnyak Odupoy.
Thank you
It's
for having me.
NamLab. It's Studio Namnyak.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
SpiceFM.